Sewer.
Yeah.
Krista? Cole? Again? You guys hear us? Hello? Hey, Krista and Cole, can you hear us okay?
I say that's a no.
Hello, can you guys hear us here?
We can hear you.
Okay, they can hear us at least. We can't hear you guys if you guys are talking.
Let me go grab John really quick. We'll figure it out.
I don't think that's what they do. Yeah. You would. I heard the second day was. Yeah.
How about now? Can you hear us now? Krista and Cole, can you hear us now? All right, this should be working. Can you hear me?
Over on their photo, the microphone is muted. You see that?
Yeah, they need to unmute.
Yeah, but we heard them a moment ago, but
Yeah, that's true.
You have control to unmute to the floor?
I can ask them to unmute, but that's all I can.
It's the-
Oh, do I have to go into the actual camera? Oh. Sure.
Screen frozen?
No, no. Is that Cole that's leaning on the table?
That might be IT. I think that's home next to Krista. Guys, let me know if you can hear us.
Wave the arm. Well,
Okay. Give us just a moment, folks.
Big man Alex Smith gonna go.
All right, I mean, I think our mic is working, but we can't hear you guys.
We had one that worked. Both of
Yeah,
them.
but we can't hear you.
We'll just get started.
Well, yeah, you guys can
They said they were
start
gonna-
your presentation.
I guess just point at us when you're ready for us to talk.
She said, okay. We'll just go with it.
And yeah, you guys can move that box around, minimize it, whatever is best for you guys.
Shows up on your screen. Okay, well, thank you. Sorry for the sound issues. We'll just get going. We're gonna have 3 of us here today, but Austin just welcomed a new baby yesterday, so he, I guess, decided that was more important than coming to this presentation today. So it's just Cole and myself, and we're just gonna talk about a couple of Kentucky American Water projects that we've done in conjunction with KYTC over the years. Real quick about American Water, we have regulated operations in, I believe, 14 states. Kentucky is one of those. So Kentucky American Water has approximately 130,000 service connections. It equates to a little bit less than 500,000 customers. This is a map of our service areas. So our central district is the lighter blue. It's Fayette County and portions of some surrounding counties that we service through bulk water customers. We also have water and wastewater services in Owenton, as well as water in Eastern Rockcastle, and then a couple of small packaged sanitary sewer plants. So just some numbers over there on the side. Typically, daily demand is 45 million gallons. We have the capacity up to about 90 million gallons between the 3 treatment plants that we have. Those are the red diamonds on the map. Just a little bit about us. So talking about some previous projects that we've done. One of the first ones I was involved with at Kentucky American was the Brandon Road widening project that involves utility relocation. So that segment went from the back of Brandon Crossing and connected over to Tates Creek Road. It took Brandon Road from 2 lanes up to 4. And one of the things that was the most interesting about that project is that it was mostly through green fields, and it looked like it would have been a great place for construction, but there were, we had our own water transmission main, and then there were also electric and gas transmission mains, plus the West Hickman wastewater treatment plant with, I think, a 54-inch sewer line. So the utility presence in this area was humongous, and even though it didn't look like a very developed area, there were a lot of coordination pieces that had to go along. So we ended up doing 4 sections of relocations. You can see on the map there are the red boxes. The blue water line is where our existing facilities were, and then the orange is the road project. So you can see we had those 4 segments, and coordination was key throughout this project with all the utilities as well as the roadway contractor. And we actually had the water line relocation segment of this. Our contractor performed it as part of the road contractor's agreement. So that helped with a lot of the coordination and scheduling. They were able to utilize the roadway contractor's equipment for excavation and trenching. It just helped provide a lot of advantages to keep that project moving. There were a lot of schedule delays with this as well that were unrelated to the utility relocations, but just with some easements and various roadway things. So the piece of this that said expect the unexpected, and that segment 1 was near an apartment complex. So at the time that easements were purchased, it was undeveloped. And then by the time that we actually showed up to do the relocation, they had constructed apartment homes, and that hillside, actually, they had installed their irrigation system for the apartment complex inside the easement, which was a no-no. And that was really on them, but it ended up that our contractor had to, they trenched through some of their irrigation lines, and then we had to go back and do some restorations. And then it was kind of a big discussion between Kentucky American and the contractor, KYTC and their roadway contractor. and the apartment, I guess, property manager with their irrigation system. So that was a change order that ended up, I guess, getting split kind of 3 ways between everybody, since it was just a miscommunication on the apartment's side, but led to some delays with the road project.
Yeah, so the next project is in Scott County for the new bypass, and this is actually Austin Thore's project, and Austin couldn't join us today, but I was going to fill in. So, you know, some of the background is this: the extension of the bypass had some areas where it was Kentucky American Water, and some areas where it was Georgetown Municipal Water's utility as well, and several invested property owners along the corridor that we had to incorporate and deal with. Key points during the project is the flexibility in the relocation alignment, and I think that, you know, had a lot to do with involving the utilities early in the process, and I think that was a key to the one of the successes of this was that we were involved early on in the process, and we were able to plan and coordinate along with KYTC and their engineer on, you know, doing this relocation. And in addition to that, our contractor was a sub to the road contractor, and basically the road contractor managed the utility relocation in this, which ended up being a good success in that it was, you know, with a tight schedule and the coordination, you know, it was good to have our contractor serve as a sub to the road contractor and have them direct, you know, our contractor to do the work. The next project we have is the New Circle Road widening project. This was also Austin's project, but I was involved a little bit in this. You know, ATS was the roadway contractor, and also they managed some of or all the utility conflicts. You know, we had 20-inch, 16-inch, 12-inch, 8-inch, and 6-inch pipe that some dated back to the early 1950s when they were installed. So, you know, planning and coordinating that was a huge effort. And again, you know, we were involved early in the process, which helped us plan and implement, you know, our relocation plan as well. You know, we also improved our valve location for shutdown capabilities in order to prepare for this project. You know, we installed many valves so we could isolate this area better. So, you know, us being involved early on helped us plan that. And that was one of the keys. You know, coordination from the beginning, like I said, helped everyone involved, you know, from us to the roadway contractor to you know, even the other utilities in doing that. You know, with the roadway contractor sharing the project schedule and keeping us up to date on critical paths was also key in getting everything done in a timely manner. So from there, we'll go to some of the upcoming relocation or KYTC projects that we're having to do. You know, staying with New Circle Road, the next phase of New Circle Road is coming up, and we've already started our planning and review of KYTC's, you know, widening of New Circle Road next phase. You know, and it will have an impact on us again. But it is good to be involved at the beginning so we can, you know, plan out and figure out what we need to do. And I'll turn it over to Krista for the next phase or the next project.
Yeah, just keeping on the theme of early utility involvement, we've been talking about this US 460 job. Spans portions of, I think, Bourbon and Scott counties, but we've been going to utility meetings with KYTC for, I think, probably 2 years, or it's been before COVID. So just looking at where this alignment was likely to go through, and in talking with other utilities, we've been able to kind of lobby for, wider right-of-way purchases that will allow easier easement relocations. I know that's been a big thing for both us and the gas company, especially some of these areas, like this goes through Centerville. It was really narrow, the existing right-of-way. So being able to be at the table and provide that feedback and input has been really helpful. And it cuts down the amount of, easements we need to go in and buy on the backside of right-of-way. It kind of eliminates some of those touch points with customers. So instead of 2 or 3 different groups contacting them about easements, they are only dealing with one. But construction for that is going to be starting this fall. And one of the interesting things that came up with this project and looking at some of the mapping, we spent a little bit of time investigating whether there was a connection point shown between us and, I believe, Scott County or Paris Water District. And our maps didn't show it. Paris's maps didn't show it. And we finally got to the point that, I think it was just a little bit of misconstrued during some of the initial survey, but we were able to eliminate that section. We said, we know there's no connection here. So simplified things, but being able to see that up front instead of towards the end of design was really helpful.
And so the next project is the Kentucky 418 RCUT. This is a project that will have a significant impact on us, and that it will impact our 30-inch transmission main that comes from our largest treatment plant into town. And, I'm thankful that the engineer at KYTC involved us really early on in this, project to allow us to not only plan, but I mean, this is going to have a significant financial impact on our budget, because as you can imagine, relocating a 30-inch transmission main is not going to be cheap. So, we're able to, put that into our budget for planning purposes, and also be able to figure out how we're going to do this moving forward. So we were very thankful that the KYTC and the consultant did contact as early as we did. But as you can see here, we've per the consultant's request, we daylighted the water main in 4 locations, I guess key locations that they indicated along the route. So that has already been done, and we know how deep the water line is and how it's going to impact the grading and widening of this area. So hopefully that'll be good for moving forward with the project. So with that, I think that brings us to the end, and I don't know if people can ask questions or if we can put them in chat, but we're open to. Okay. Yeah, so if you want to ask us questions, you can put them in chat and we'll try to answer them for you.
So you still can't hear us?
Or if anyone knows sign language, feel free to just.
Mhm. Yeah, somebody said, hey, chat's working.
If I can just offer one theme of our message today is the earlier you can involve utilities, the more smooth these things go. There was one, I think it was the Georgetown bypass, talking about the property owners. KYTC had gone through and actually purchased, not even easements, but had purchased land for part of that job. And then when we came in behind them for easements, some of those owners felt like they should be compensated similarly to the land sale. And so thankfully, KYTC was really helpful. They were like, if you're having issues with property owners, then just switch the alignment to the other side of the road and we can just go around. So that coordination was really helpful.
All right, we've got a couple of questions. One is, do you have standard depths of facilities? We do. We try to have a minimum of 30 inches of cover on everything that we install. However, unfortunately, when we install things in right of way and in easement, we can't always control what goes on after the installation's done, especially when they've been in the ground for 40 or 50 years. So sometimes we encounter, like for instance, our 30-inch transmission main along Richmond Road, there were some places where it had like inches of cover and some places where it was 8 feet deep. So, it's when they are installed and when we have the as-built to reflect when they were installed between with cover to 3 to 4 feet of cover on them when they were initially installed. But that's typically our standard, is to have, especially when we do new subdivisions, it's about 36 to 42 inches of cover is what we try to do. The next question is, as a private company, are you responsible for all relocation costs? Well, it depends. If the main is in a private easement or a utility easement, then no, we are not. It's whoever the entity is that's asking us to relocate is responsible for the cost. However, if we're in public right of way or state right of way or local right of way, then we bear the cost of relocating the line.
Do you have any questions?
I'm trying to summarize it.
Do you guys use more ductile iron these days? I think you're using a lot more of that versus PVC.
Yeah, we use almost, I'd say 95% of what we put in right now is ductile iron pipe. The only time we use PVC is in rural areas or not in right away.
Yeah. Majority of it in we're in the Lexington area and all those surrounding.
Yes, correct.
Can I get the rest of that question?
Who coordinates environmental?
I don't see any more questions, so.
Here's another one.
Okay.
Just for fun of it, just with the COVID outbreak, what about you all purchasing pipe these days? Material costs or getting it on time and so forth.
Yeah, good question. You want to take this?
Yeah, so the question was, with COVID times, how is it purchasing pipe and materials? And honestly, we didn't see really any issues through most of the beginning of the pandemic. I think business pretty much went on for us as usual. Construction was still steady. But over the last probably 6 months, we have started seeing some major delays in material deliveries, where we usually plan on 2 to 4 weeks to have materials from the time that we order till the time that they show up. We're looking at, some of our estimates right now have been 14, 16, 18 weeks or even beyond. We've got some pipe that's still not scheduled to ship until February of 2022. Hydrants, valves, meters, settings, we're seeing those delays across the board. It's really not just one type of material, it's all of it. So interestingly, I think there was a run on PVC pipe earlier this year, and so a lot of people switched to use ductile, which has contributed to the ductile iron pipe slowdown. Plus, some of the foundries and manufacturing plants have also had, I guess, staffing shortages and other issues. And then, of course, there's a shortage of truckers to actually get materials to you. So even if they have something available to ship, sometimes it's delayed because they just can't find anyone to drive the truck. So we're seeing that right now. It's starting to, some of the items we've ordered are starting to arrive, but I would expect that to continue for at least another couple months before we start to even get close to caught up. So.
Yeah, for example, hydrants and valves, order we placed in April just arrived August 6th, when it usually only takes about 4 weeks to get it. So
it's definitely a ripple effect right now going in, right?
Mm-hmm.
It is, yeah. And in trying to, once we realized there were delays, we've tried to get a lot of more orders submitted, but even then, they're backed up, so you might be pretty far down on the list. And even once things start to arrive, we're trying to prepare and find places to store it, because we might be able to get all the pipe itself, but the fittings are still delayed or the valves are still delayed. So there's just a lot of question marks right now.
All right, that sounds like there's no more questions. Thank you guys, appreciate it.
That's a bummer that we couldn't have two-way communication.
Yeah.